Hey y'all, happy Sunday. This is Christmas week, and a lot of us getting ready to spend time with our family, friends, and loved ones. So, I want to talk a little bit about triggers today. Now, first, I'm going to start with the definition, like I always do, and we're going to talk about how to handle triggers, what triggers, all that good old stuff. But first, I want to say what I think a trigger is to me. For me, a trigger is a smoke detector. Okay, it is that thing that happens abruptly that lets you know that something needs our attention. So when you think about a smoke detector, right? A smoke detector goes off when there's smoke. You know, where there's smoke, more likely there's fire. Same way with the trigger. It means there's something deep inside of you. That seed, when we talked about seeds a few days ago, there's a seed there that maybe you didn't recognize was there that needs your attention. Okay, so the definition says it's a stimulus that causes an emotional response, or it could cause you to relive an experience, or what we like to call trauma. Now, it could be a people, place, or a thing type situation, or it could even be a situation, like a circumstance that could cause you to be triggered. Now, the one thing I want to say about triggers and seeds, a lot of times trauma related triggers specifically started in childhood. At some point as a child, we didn't feel safe and we were in a situation where maybe we didn't get everything that we needed to get, you know, in the hierarchy of need. You know, our parents did the best that they could do, obviously, but I mean, we're all human, gonna make mistakes, right? And so a lot of times we didn't get everything we need, and so therefore we did not feel safe all the time, right? But specifically, if you have been in a situation where some things have happened to you to make you feel unsafe, these definitely turn into those seeds that turn into a trigger. All right, trauma trigger. Okay, so how does triggers affect us? Okay, let's just think for a moment of that fire on the stove. All right, all of a sudden you see fire blazing, you don't know what to do. Sometimes you can get to a point where your judgment is impaired. You're like, oh shoot, you can't even remember what to do. Like, do I put salt on it? Do I put a rag over it? Do I take it off the eye? You know, you're gonna have that impairment. Okay. Secondly, you may not even remember everything. It will affect your memory. And especially if something happened in childhood. A lot of times when we have like a trauma in childhood, we don't remember everything because our brain, to protect us, our brain has taken a piece of that memory and locked it away. Like the most painful piece of the memory is locked away. So that way we won't relive that and be in pain all over again. Yeah, our brain is a beautiful, beautiful organ. You can have a physical reaction where it's the heart palpitations, the sweating, the headaches, the you can have a stroke. I mean, I'm just saying, you can have those type of experiences when you are triggered, okay, especially abruptly. You can have anxiety, that kind of thing. Now, emotional response, that could be anxiety, that could be panic, that could be fear, it could be guilt, shame, any of those, anger, depending on what the situation is or what the trigger is. You can have all of the above, okay? Now, examples of triggers, of course, trauma. And when I think of trauma, I think of, say, for instance, you were in a car accident. And when you're in that car accident, you know, you had this bad experience. Okay, all of a sudden, there's a car behind you, hitting their brakes. You go back into your mind to this bad car accident you were in. You hear the brakes. You smell the gas or the oil or whatever. You see whatever it is. It's like you go right back to that space again just because of the sound of somebody hitting their brakes really hard behind you. Okay, that's how trauma works. Okay, now emotional. Like I said, I told you, you know, somebody angers you because of something they said, because it triggers something on the inside. Grief or loss. For me, this time of the year, grief and loss does come up because around this time of the year, I would have been going to Arkansas, going to Grandma Osavie's house. All of us would have met together from different parts of the world and came together and laughed and loved and sang and ate and all of these beautiful things. Now, I'm not trying to say there's no drama because family is family. Okay, it's going to be some drama. But I mean, to think about it, It was such a beautiful experience. And it's something that I miss. I wish I could get it back. But of course, a lot of them are deceased. And, sometimes I kind of wish that we could find a way to come back together. But then at the same time, I know that the energy is not even going to be the same. My mom's not there. Grandma's not there. Both the uncles not there. You know what I'm saying? Some of the cousins are no longer living as well. It won't have the same energy. Okay. But during this time of the year, I miss it. And I do have grief and loss, right? Unjust treatment. When I think about that, I think of those of us who are people of color and we are living in trauma basically every day, just living in our skin, to be honest. And then those people that are LGBTQ plus community, they can't even be around their family and be honest about who they are, which is sad. And so they are people who would be triggered around this time of the year, either having to hide themselves in a closet, right? Or going and being honest and then dealing with, the backlash of their honesty, right? Relationships. A lot of times people have, maybe you're separated from someone or whatever, and your family don't understand why y'all want to get a divorce. And then here you go. Like, they didn't experience what you experienced, but they feel like, oh, you just need to get back together and have this discussion. I mean, that could be a lot, right? Sensory environmental. I think of that like the car accident, if you will. You smelling something, it takes you back to that point. Or social situations. A lot of people don't want to be in social situations. It makes them very anxious. And so you can be triggered in that space. Another thing that I think about, though, when I think of triggers, especially during this time of the year with family, let's just say you had a trauma that happened to you, maybe an uncle or somebody like that who touched you inappropriately. And this uncle, you told your parents, and they said, okay, we're not going to tell anybody. Shh, be quiet. We're going to keep it in the closet, if you will. We don't want him to go to jail. You don't want him to go to jail, right? So we're not going to say anything. And what ends up happening is the seeds, like we talked about the last time, could be planted in that child that says, your voice doesn't matter. You're not worthy of me protecting you. You're not worthy of being covered. You're not worthy of being respected. You should be touched. You're not that special. You're not important. That kind of thing. It can come out. That seed can be planted in there, and it can just grow all kinds of insecurities in a person because of that one thing. That one thing. Your whole self-esteem could be altered from that one thing, just because your parents are looking out for both. Again, not saying that's right or wrong, but just look at it. Like your parents could be like, yeah, we just going to separate you from them, which could also be seen as you feeling guilty about nobody wanting to talk to him anymore because of what he did to you, right? All of these things end up being seeds inside of you that can be triggered around family, okay? And again, with the LGBTQ community, it can also be triggered with them because if, people beat them with the Bible, you shouldn't live your life like that, blah, blah, blah. And, not saying what's right or wrong. The point is this person has to live their lives the way they want to live their lives, okay? They have to be true to themselves, okay? Now, their truth and your truth might be two different truths. But at the same time, just like you have your path and you have to live your life and you have your lessons to learn, that kind of thing, same thing with the other person. We're supposed to love each other. We're supposed to be supportive of each other. We're not supposed to be here to judge. Now, I give a different example. Chris, he's the first love of my life. And I always thought he should be an attorney. And I tell him all the time, to this day, he will argue to the bitter end, right? And I'm like, you should be an attorney. But it's his life. If he don't want to be an attorney, he don't need to be an attorney. I'm happy that he's living his life the way he wants to live his life. Okay? Just because I see him with those natural abilities, I see him like that, does not mean that because he's not, that he's less than, or because he's not, that I'm, not happy with him or not proud. I'm proud of him. Okay. But a lot of times it comes out that way. And people feel like, you don't accept me for who I am, and you're not proud of me because of whatever. Just understand that even though we love people, we could also be the problem. Now, of course, I have some ways that you can handle triggers, all right? But first, I have to go to the Bible verse. I have to do this, okay? The first one is going to be Proverbs 15th chapter. The whole chapter talks about how we should talk to each other and triggers and all that good old stuff, right? How it kind of explains the difference between good and bad, this whole chapter. But this one specifically, this is the fourth verse. And this one, I did it from the Amplified Bible because I wanted to kind of share exactly what I'm seeing here. It says, a soothing tongue, speaking words that build up and encourage, is a tree of life. But a perverse tongue, which is speaking words that overwhelm and depress, crushes the spirit. So a lot of times we're sitting here and we're saying what we feel like is best for a person, and we want them to what's best for them and all of this kind of stuff. We could be crushing their spirit. What if they want to be an artist? We're going to say, oh, don't do that because you're not going to make any money. What if they want to own their own business? What we're going to say, don't do that. You need to go get a job with the state or the government, whatever. Like you're crushing someone. Okay. Not even understanding that the gift might be in whatever it is that they are saying they need to do. Okay. And the Bible is saying this, since we like to use the Bible to beat people. Think about that. Okay. Now, the second scripture I have is 2 Timothy, 1st chapter, 7th verse. And it says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Okay. So when you think of that, all right, a trigger is triggered by a fear. Okay. Just like the smoke detector, it's a fear, right? But God didn't give us that spirit of fear. Life gave us that spirit of fear. Experience gave us the spirit of fear. People who loved us, maybe projecting onto us their own fears, gave us that spirit of fear. It was not of God, right? God gave us love and a sound mind. And so what you have to do in this case is you have to, one, understand what this trigger is. All right. This is how you deal with it. You identify, okay, I'm triggered. Why am I triggered? What's going on? Question the trigger. All right. Next, you name it. Oh, I'm triggered because there's my uncle over there and they trying to make me go over there and hug him when this dude was touching on me when I was young. That's not okay. All right. Then you understand it. Okay. I'm triggered. I'm feeling unsafe right now. All right. Because of this situation. And I feel like my voice is not being heard because other people are telling me what I need to do. All right. So then in that situation, you create the safe space for yourself. Now, if that means you're going to say, no, I do not want to hug him, or I don't want to be around him, I need my space, whatever the case, then that's what you do. If it's that you leave, that's what you do, whatever the situation is. OK, if that's what you feel like you need to do, have your safety plan. It's OK. It's OK to say no to your family. It really is. OK. Find a way to cope. And if you know the uncle is going to be there, maybe you go before he goes, or maybe you go after he leaves, whatever the case. So that way you can protect yourself and protect your peace. Okay. That's how you deal with the trigger. Now I'm just using the uncle and also the family, for instance, but because of this time of the year, there's supposed to be joy and love and peace and all of that. Sometimes people can get beside themselves and they can say things that's supposed to be encouraging, or it's supposed to be things that help you along, and it can end up hurting you, right? So I want you to stand strong in yourself and be true to yourself. Whether that be, no, I'm going to be a stripper. That, hey, do your thing. If that's no, I have decided that I'm going to marry this man. Do your thing. If it's, I'm going to just stick to my career. Do your thing. I want you to feel encouraged to be who you are, no matter what that is, okay? Don't hide in the closet anymore. Don't shove it under the rug. Don't push it in the corner. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to walk in this life safe and without fear. God didn't give you a spirit of fear. He gave you love and a sound mind. Use it. All right? So the song for today is Comes to the Light, and it is by Jill Scott from the Love Don't Cost Us Thing, because some people ask me this stuff and I never give you, I just give you the name of the song. Okay. I can't hold it in forever. Eventually, I have to breathe. Done hit a lot behind the light, behind the wall. Now it's crushing in on me. How did I let it get this far? Oh, how did I make this wrong turn? Somebody tell me. How did I change a thing I've done? I don't know. Only one lesson learned. Comes to the light, comes to the light. Ooh, everything. Comes to the light, comes to the light. Ooh. And it comes to the light, comes to the light. Ooh, everything. Comes to the light, comes to the light. Yeah. All right, bring it all to the light. Don't hide it anymore. Remember, that seed that's planted, that's in the dark, it grows. What do you want to grow there? Do you want these triggers to grow? Do you want the darkness to grow more darkness? Bring it to the light. Take it out. All right, y'all. Merry Christmas. Enjoy your family. If you get uncomfortable, stand up for yourself. Move on if you have to. Do what you need to do to protect yourself, okay? In love, of course. All right, take care.